Girls. What was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it? We were playing life and he was the police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button down and exposed my breasts and said, what can I do to get out of paying this? He said, ma'am, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to prostitute yourself to me? A couple days of flirting and sexual innuendo later, I literally had to spell out that I was trying to fuck him. We've been together 6 years now. Yo, that dude is serious about his role-playing. And yet somehow I've never been able to convince him to play D&D with me. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room, per my suggestion. Things are going good, and about an hour into it she says, ooh, let me see your room. So we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, oh my god, your bed is so comfortable. I responded with, we live in the same building, it's the same bed as yours. She left about 10 minutes later. He told me my hair looked nice. I said, bet it would look nicer with your hands in it. He said, in a very confused tone, you want me to style your hair? This one is great. At least he managed to say he was clueless. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him and he kept inching backwards too. Since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way. He ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. This one made me laugh out loud. Imagining him scooting all the way off the bed just to give you space is so sweet, LOL. We were so awkward when we first started dating. Apparently both of us would awkwardly leave out hands next to the other to initiate hand holding, but neither of us noticed. A couple of weeks ago, to my boyfriend of 3 years, me undresses and lays naked on the couch, waiting to bone. Him makes dumb joke, ooh, you're naked. That's so weird. Me dies a little bit inside. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until like 2 a.m., sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, how do you tell if a girl is into you? He suspected that you were hinting and gave you a way to confirm or deny. Good move on his part. I'm a guy, but I once had an experience where I took the hint but still got rejected. A girl had asked me if I lost my virginity yet. We were in high school. When I said I hadn't, she said that I could practice on her whenever I want. Mind you, we walking home after school because we lived close. I try to act on this hint when we get to her house. And she said she was only joking and doesn't want it to be weird with us as friends. Is it possible to get secondhand depressed? Because I think I just did. Guy here. Was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We're about half hour in and she says she might take a shower. I'm like, okay, kinda random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken, so do not come in. Says it 3 or 4 more times. Again, I'm like, okay. Weird, she said that multiple times. But okay. Hour later the shower is still running. I can hear her singing and humming away, so I know she's okay and hasn't drowned. Thinking, gee, that's a long shower though. Water goes off and she comes out dressed and says, you didn't come in? I'm confused as I'm like, what the fuck? She told me not to. She sits back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. We wrap up after 5 minutes. Drive home. Mate asks me how study was about a week later and the situation, which I hadn't given a single brain cell of thought to since. I explained to him. As I'm saying it out loud, the penny drops as to what a big fuckhead I am. So answering in lieu of my late wife here. I, husband, am dumb. Like, really dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too. But she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking, asked me in detail about my package. Gave me her phone number with the line, hit me up if you want pizza and sex. We went out for lunch. She offered to fillet me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got meat lovers pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom, stark naked. And I had some double D staring at me. She kissed me and told me, I want you to fuck me, you idiot. A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really fucked up exes and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person and wait on them hand on foot. But she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there: if my wife telling me, I want you to fuck me, got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort that'll get through to anybody. I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower and I was like, well they're big, I'm sure it's fine. And he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. See, this is a rough one, because I had this one girl I'd talk to all the time. And she'd sit next to me in class. I had a huge crush on her, and she'd be overly touchy all the time. She'd occasionally even rest her head on my shoulder or sleep on it during class when she was tired. Just stare into my eyes for prolonged periods of time, and hug me. When I told her I had a crush on her, she shut me down completely. And told me she only saw me as a friend. For Valentine's a couple of years ago, I mailed my husband a package. The note said, and I quote, "I want you now." I was ready to spring into some extra fun sexy time whenever he opened the package. I had to sit him down and explain a couple of hours later. He was like, "Oh, yeah, my wife's learned to just holler, come to bed now. Otherwise I'm a dumbass that doesn't get it." On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could, around 3 a.m. when we were both fighting to stay awake. I finally had to look his dumbass in the eye and ask, "So are you going to kiss me or not?" Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. When I was about 35, I lived in a beach town near a university. My neighbors were all college kids. Next door was 2 college girls. One was always flirting with me. One hit summer day, she turned up at my door in nothing but a long t-shirt. She asked if she could hang out in the AC. I said sure, and she came over to the sofa I was sitting on, and laid with her back to my chest, and asked if we could snuggle. I was okay with that. She then asked me to rub her belly, which I did. As you can imagine, after about an hour, I was getting a little worked up and touched her breast while rubbing her belly. She jumped up and stormed out. I was like, what the fuck? She later said she didn't see me like that. I asked her why she'd show up almost naked, lay between my legs like couples do, and ask me to rub her belly and then get pissed when I try to progress things. She said she looks at me like a big brother. I was like, what the fuck is your family like? I had a girl invite me round her house once just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley-Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other sore bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later, I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley. My name is Harley. Damn, I feel so bad for her. That's a perfect line too. Got to wonder if she bought those posters just to set up that line. I am a guy, but I can share my density as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything, bring a poor college student. This time I came in the store and she said and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, "I'm going to be home alone tonight, my family is out of town." I replied, "Oh, that's too bad." She says, "I'm off at 5 today. It was 4 at the time. What are you up tonight?" I'm up for anything. "Oh, nothing, just sitting at home and watching a movie." My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. We were discussing costumes and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. For those of you concerned, it was very much a suggestive picture. I'm not sure it could have been perceived as just friendly. And no, you won't be getting proof of said picture for those in my DMs, lol. I was very much ready to hit him with the bat of bluntness because we get along great and he'd seemed flirty with me before. Jessica, that makes no sense. How can I help you when I'm clear across town? Invited him over to, quote, watch a movie. Eventually laying my legs across his lap and hard flirting. But after 4 movies, I had to finally make the move. For clarification, we'd been flirting via text, sexting, exchanging nudes, etc. I had previously told him to his face that I liked him and I'm giving him the green light to make any move. Still nothing after a month of dating. I seem to always take the lead on things and I like assertiveness. But I wanted to give him the opportunity to feel like he could be in control, that it was okay. I was very direct many times, we'd had several discussions about it. Still nothing. Even after I finally made the move, I had to literally say, I want to have sex with you. 4 movies in one night? Or like 4 evenings spread over a few weeks? Both seems astonishingly long time to get your hints. 4 in one night. After I had told him previously that I'm giving him the green light. He said he was scared of creeping me out, lol. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. Not a girl, but I was staying a night at a hotel and the hotel bar had just closed. I went out front for a smoke and start chatting with two women. We shoot the shit for a few minutes and then all head back into the hotel and to the elevator. We get in, they press 15, I press 9, and one of them turns to me and says, "I don't suppose there's a secret bar on the 9th floor we can go to?" My dumb ass response, "No, but you can grab a cab and be at a bar in 10 minutes. Then the doors open and I leave. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on or panties. I told her that's okay, I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfy. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well obviously, you're naked. So I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. I used to be oblivious, probably still am. There was a girl at a local grocery store who was flirting with me. But of course, I didn't get it. After quite a bit of this, I leave town for a few months and we're corresponding via email. I can't remember why, but I was asking her a string of silly questions. Like, why is the sky blue? Chicken or the egg first? Where do babies come from? Etc. She answered them all, saving "where do babies come from" for last and answered it with, "When you get back I'm going to show you." I got that one. I'm sure if Emily, from 15 years ago, saw this thread, she'd say, "Invited this guy to my place after our date. Got him into my room, into my bed. He was just lying there so I told him my back was feeling sore and asked him if he could give me a massage. His reply, 'Oh, I don't want to crush you with my weight.' He was about 170 pounds, or 75 kilograms. Gave up and went to sleep. Truth is, I did get the hint. But at the time I was a virgin and I was convinced I had an STD. Yeah, good combo. Turns out I didn't have an STD. Virgin with an STD. It's amazing what our teenage minds will come up with to make us even more awkward and weird. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like the stories. More to come daily, so don't miss it. See you tomorrow.